I'm currently in a play called My Father's Favourite at the Bush Theatre.
Which you're brilliant in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
And I'm writing some other things I've had to put on hold, but I can't wait to get back into it. Some things in development.
And writing all different mediums, plays, TV, everything.
Yeah. So currently writing a play, and then working on a feature film which I'm co-written with someone else.
Oh, amazing.
And then some TV work that I want to get in development.
And do you find that the stuff you're all writing is kind of in the same vein or like genre, or do you kind of jump around?
So I think they all fall into like a dark comedy.
Sick.
Yeah, they always have some sort of harsh truths in it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like genre, it can really span. I love all kind of genres.
Yeah. Will you be in them?
Not all of them, but I'd love to be in like the play especially. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking to slot myself in for
Oh,
sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Okay, cool.
Yeah. How
Cool.
about you?
I've just been through the process of like pumping out so many short films, you know, having so many hats, director, producer, writer, you know.
And I watched Joe,
Oh, dope.
Happy Mark,
Oh.
which I love. That was so different.
Thank you.
So different.
Yeah, I think that's important with shorts is like I wanted to showcase, you know, with such little time, like if I'm sending them to an exec or something, it's like, look,
Yeah.
I can do X, Y, and Z while still having kind of the same point of view and perspective.
Yeah.
But because I've made all those now, I'm getting into rooms that I'm really excited about.
Amazing.
I'm pitching a lot, and trying to make that next jump to like my first feature, which
Yes.
I'm so excited about. But yeah, and those shorts have led to writing jobs as well with studios, and like it's just been really cool seeing what, you know, a 5-minute short that you made for $1,500 and like every favor you've ever had,
Yes.
getting you bigger opportunities.
Yes.
And allowing you to like grow.
Yeah. Because with Joe, like I remember watching because it was so like the Western, and it was just so like visually like gorgeous to watch.
Thank you.
Like what inspired you to create that story? Because oh my gosh, the name of the actor from the Vampire Diaries, which I was obsessed with.
Michael.
Yes.
So Michael and Breccia, the lead actress, they came to me and they're friends, and they were like, we want to make something. He's just produced a feature, and he's like, I want to produce more and get more, you know, experience in that. So
Gorgeous.
We all came together. I wrote it for them.
Wow.
And then I tend to like women murdering men. That seems to be
I think that's how we first connected.
It feels like a theme that's very common in my work thus far. But yeah, I mean, I like a revenge story. It felt, you know, I wanted to make it contained because I feel like that makes things cheaper. And yeah, it was the best time. That's so funny. Yeah, he is from Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
What a throwback. That's great. Yeah.
And then Happy Mark, which is completely different.
Yeah. That's like I am trying to do women in action. That's like one of the biggest things I want to do. I want to do like giant, big budget, you know, there's so many brilliant women in martial arts, and I just have yet to see them on screen. So luckily some of my best friends are martial artists, and we all came together, made that one. And that was like I use everyone to experiment with, you know, different kinds of action styles, I would say. So like the first one I did was more like static, kind of the camera on sticks, and this one was more like John Wick, fun, handheld, like, you know,
so fun.
It's so fun. So yeah, that one, and those women too all told me what kind of role they wanted to play, like, you know, what they were willing to do fight style wise. So I wrote that for them as well. I love them all for different reasons, and they've all brought me really different opportunities, which has been really cool. But are you ever trying to do action?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome.
From when I was younger, like I used to love like I remember watching the first like Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and just getting so like, oh my gosh, it's always been a dream. Like when I go on runs, I just imagine myself.
You're like fully in a movie.
That's it. Yeah.
That's dope. That's cool.
So it was just so refreshing watching your films.
Thank you.
And just because I remember we met. I don't know if I'd watched your films yet when we first
last
met.
year.
Yeah.
No, and you were shooting that cool movie that you were shooting.
Oh yes.
Wait, when does that come out?
That comes out in autumn.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
No.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dope.
Wow. because you mentioned like the action and like, you know, the obviously female lead,
Yeah.
like killing men,
Yeah.
which I'm the same.
Yeah.
Like, do you see the same in terms of like for a feature? Do you have like an idea for?
Yeah, I think the features that I have that are working right now the industry seems to be really into horror, obviously, because it makes so much money, and then romantic comedies because they're back.
Yeah.
So those are the two genres that have, you know, I'm very much so right now in a space of like, I'm going to do what gets me to the next level,
Of course.
then it'll give me the opportunity to do everything I want to do. So I've mostly been focused on horror comedy right now.
Nice.
And they always have an element of action somewhere, whether it be a fight sequence or, you know, I'll inject it somewhere. But yeah, I've kind of been living in the horror comedy space, which has been fun. But I also feel like horror is getting really oversaturated now. But that also creates, you know, there's a whole new kind of like art house genre of horror, which is kind of amazing as well. So yeah, in 5 years, I hope I have a slate of movies that I'm directing.
Yeah.
And also like as an actor, I've been acting since I was young. Like I want to act in projects that I think represent my taste and like represent who I am as an artist. I think, you know, a lot of the time as a woman, as an actor, you're kind of told like, there's a million women doing this, so take the job.
Yeah.
And I think I've done that in the past, and I want to focus moving forward on working on things that I feel proud of.
Of course.
So that with acting, and then with directing, I mean, I'm just ready. Like, I just can't wait. I think it's going to be such a fun...
You're more than ready. Your work is incredible.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I'm really excited. And what I find so fun, and maybe you feel this way about all the people that are young and our age right now, it's like, people are just ready, and so when they get the opportunity, they just like rip it, and they do it. You know, they do such good jobs, and there's new, fresh ideas and new things, and yeah, it's like it's really exciting, and I think there's so many really amazing stories that will be told in the next 5 years. Not just from myself, but from so many other people as well.
Can I just add? I think like there is so many female-led films out there that are directed by men, and it's just like, wouldn't it be great to have a woman behind it, you know? It is,
and you know, I know so many men that get their first feature for $10 million, and the way I have to fight for a $2 million feature is really wild.
With the work you've already done.
Yeah, and I know men that have done much less. And that's, you know, we can talk about the men and women disparity in the film industry for days. But yeah, I think when more women are in roles of power, that will be when women are given, you know, those opportunities. And I feel like in all the generals I've been having, in all the meetings I've been having, there are so many women I'm meeting with, which is like very exciting. I always get really stoked when it's like, you know, 4 women on a list to meet with. So yeah, but how do you feel? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's such a big question.
I know. It's like, where am I next week, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're finishing. You have your final day of your play, right?
Yeah, this Saturday.
How do you feel with that? That was your first
professional theatre. Yeah, I feel so good. Like it's been a lot, like emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
So it feels so bittersweet, honestly, because it was such. I love the play so much. Yeah. But at the same time, like I can feel it in my throat. I can feel it in my body. Like I am tired. Yeah. You know, because theatre's like it's 8 times a week. Yeah. And it's just, you know. So I just can't wait to just do nothing. You know, but at the same time, I know that I'm going to be like, okay, cool, what's next?
I feel like that's the thing with, because as a creative, you're a self-starter, and I feel like, well, as a freelance creative, you're a self-starter, and I feel like the minute you're done a job, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to chill for like a week, and then you're like, what's next? Like, what am I doing? You know? So yeah, you'll be writing in a week.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. As I said, like, we're meeting up, we're going to work together.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I'd love to continue acting for theatre. Yeah. And for TV and for film, and then just writing my own projects, starring them as well. Yeah. And then I think, like, when I look at someone like, for example, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who, you know, helped to co-write the last James Bond, I'm like, that would be fun, wouldn't it? You know?
100%.
And she's got, like, Fleabag in it, but, like, you know, Killing Eve, I'm like...
Iconic.
That's,
Yeah, and also it made me think about how, like, theater, you know, I don't know, I'm not in the theater scene, but I do feel like it's having like a resurgence in a really, really cool way. I feel like so many high profile actors are doing theater again. I feel like and I wanted to come back. I've been to so many shows in London the last 2 months, and I'm just like, it's such a brilliant art form. Like the fact that people are like it's connection. I think maybe people are like wanting connection after 100%. No connection for so long.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. No, it feels it's so funny because with the show that I'm doing right now, it feels like the audience is a fifth character.
Yeah.
So depending on how they react determines how the play goes 100%. In a way. But it feels so fruitful every night, and they're there who keep me going. Yeah. Honestly.
That's dope.
I feel like the industry is doing so much better for, I'll say specifically dark-skinned black women.
Yeah.
I feel like when I look at some of my favourite actors to date, like Jake Gyllenhaal, even like Florence Pugh more recently, Margot Robbie, and I look at their diverse slate of work, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what a dream.
Yeah, for sure.
But when I look at someone like myself, an actor that looks like myself, I can't see the same diverse slate. They're kind of like pigeonholed into certain characters, and I find that so draining, you know? When I think, like, even watching like Joe, Happy Ma, and then something kind of similar like Killing Eve, I'm like, oh, that's so juicy, so meaty. And I would just love more opportunities like that to be able to showcase, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like those opportunities are opening up for people, or do you still feel like it's such a climb? Like it's a little far away.
I think we're getting there, but it's very slow.
Yeah.
So when I go in for generals for writing, you know, they always bring up Michaela Cole. Like, Michaela Cole, isn't she great? I'm like, for the fact that you can only mention
the one woman,
you know,
that's a problem.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Like, you should be proud to, you know. But more recently, I've been watching. I haven't watched the most recent season, but The Bear.
Yeah.
You know, and watching Aya DeBerry, I'm just like, oh, yes.
And she directed an episode
in
the new season.
Wait. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen the new season yet. But
Neither.
And she's, I mean, and that kind of, I wanted to talk about multi-hyphenates too, because I feel like I'd be curious, in LA, I feel like as of 5-10 years ago, the multi-hyphenate thing was like, don't do that.
Same, here.
Okay, interesting, because I feel like I have never felt more fulfilled and like myself as finally being able to do all of these things and fulfill my creativity through, you know, multiple things. And I'm so grateful for this next generation of young women and young men. It's like, you can do many things. You are good at many things.
Yeah.
And don't feel pigeonholed, boxed in. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like even more so for women as well, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're an actor, be an actor.
Yeah. It's like, it's so funny because I can't imagine only have been an actor.
Yeah.
This whole, like, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah. No, no. Yeah. No way. I think because there's such an oversaturation of content and stuff now being made, there's more bad stuff being made.
Yes.
And it's harder to find the good stuff. And it's harder for really good stuff to be seen. Because I have so many friends that are in things, have made things that are just kind of falling into the cracks because there's so much and it's so overstimulating. And then also people's attention spans are so low because of it. In terms of my taste, and I just think it's really hard as a woman who wants to do genre, who wants to do action, who wants to do all of these things that have primarily been, you know, helmed by men. It's really intimidating going in rooms with, you know, I've been in like a pitch meeting with, I'm not going to name names, but like the biggest man in the action space, and he was amazing. But it was him and 5 other, you know, 50-year-old white men who have made decades of action movies, and there's a little bit of a like, oh, you remind me of my daughter, and it's like, would you say that to a young man? Like, oh, you know, it's just it's hard sometimes, but it'll make it so much more sweet when I finally get to do it and do it well.
And you will.
Yeah.
You will.
So yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I think something that I found as well is just what I find with like us as women, which I find so annoying that we do constantly, is that we downplay ourselves so much compared to men that
100%.
have literally 6 months to a year experience, and they speak so highly of themselves and are so confident. I'm like, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Even though I've been doing this for like 8 years.
Yeah, I think it's that thing again where it's like we're taught not only by society but like the people in power in the industry that like oh, well, there's a million women doing this, so you should feel special that you're here. And it's just not the case.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we can look to that confidence as inspiration, but also I think I'm excited about the amount of women lifting other women up in the industry right now. It feels really strong and like really exciting, and the amount of women that are you know, having other women shadow them on sets, and you know, bringing back shadowing after COVID, and doing all these things that help uplift women and like all these programs, you know, there's a lot of stuff coming back after COVID that's like just, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be good and bring like a new generation of women in control, which is what we need. That like baseline, that's it. You know,
I think it's like, even just like bring it to Fassa, like Fassa's the one that connected us, you know, and like what she's created and this incredible platform, you know, like it's just, it's so nice and inspirational to see.
Yeah, 100%. We met through Callo, which is, you know, like a platform where you meet people, and I think talking about connection, when we were speaking on connection, like that's something that was obviously missing during COVID, and I feel like that is kind of the new way of how to meet collaborators. I feel like before that, I kind of just met people through Instagram, which I still do, but it feels less professional, if that makes sense.
Yes.
How do you meet people? How do you find people to like work with?
Yeah. I think more recently was word of mouth. But I think someone like me that can be quite introvert and a bit of a hermit, that can be a bit challenging.
Not a hermit.
So when I downloaded the app, it was great, but then also at the same time, Callo is more based in the US, so a lot of my connections were there, but obviously I connected with you.
Definitely.
So I can't wait for it to spread out even more, to like meet more people in London.
Definitely.
But I think, as we were saying as well, like members clubs here is like more prominent.
Right.
So when you go to events here, but they can be so pricey.
Yeah.
Like I think the average is like what, 150, 200 £200 a month.
Yeah.
Which isn't accessible.
Also, I find sometimes things can be a little cliquey and a little networky, and I feel like Callo is kind of one of those. It's a little more. Like, we're all here for the same reason. We all want to meet people, make friends. It's like we're all on the same kind of page.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. So the projects that I'm currently working on, like the logline is Tiwa sits down with Oprah Winfrey and explains why she enjoys killing men.
Oh, word.
So then I came across your profile and I was like, hi, how's it going? So that just felt very natural.
I love how much we don't murder men. Or just like, we would like to make
just
that
to
clear.
clarify.
We have never murdered a man. I feel like my biggest, I mean, look, there's a lot of ingenuine people. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Ingenuine? Mm-hmm. Ingenuine.
Disingenuous.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to reform my, my response. Biggest red flag for me is disingenuous people. I think the industry breeds a lot of people who have huge dreams, big dreams, and they want to get to those dreams. I think there's a way to do it in a really genuine way. And, you know, yeah, I've found in my journey that I've come across some people that aren't, I just not doing it in like the most thoughtful and tactful way. So I think, yeah, a red flag for me, it's like, if you want to work with someone, anyone, if you want to, you know, be a part of something, just make sure you're doing it from a place of honesty, you know, because I feel like, I just think, especially people who have been in the industry for so long, it's like, people can tell, you know, if you're just trying to like get ahead and do the thing, it's pretty obvious. So that's probably the biggest red flag for me, is like, just when your gut is kind of like, what? I don't, you know?
Yeah. I completely agree, because I think there's some people who, I think it's when, I think a good example sometimes is when I've spoken to a couple of writers who have now started to get like credits for their own shows or whatever, and one of the big things they said to me is how they were like the hot shot in London for like a little bit. So all the producers were like jumping on them.
Everyone has like their moment, you
right?
know?
And then they had their idea, they pitched them, they're like, oh my God, yes, we love that vision, we're gonna take it and whatever. And then a couple of months down the line in development, they're trying to change the idea so much to the point of where it's not the idea anymore.
Right.
And that's what I was just thinking about, the disingenuity in the sense that like they kind of play this game of like, you're amazing, like we want to buy your idea.
Yeah.
Then over time they want to completely
rewrite and
change it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so sad, especially for new writers. Like they kind of lose that spark.
I mean, the way new writers get absolutely fucked. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. Like, the way new writers get just absolutely screwed over is, I mean, just the last year I've been, you know, doing contracts for the first time, and it's been so exciting, and I'm learning so much. But you quickly realize, like, you have no leverage. You have leverage, but like people love to tell you you have no leverage, and it's like, yes, I do. You want to buy my idea.
Yeah.
So like, why would I, you know, why would I sell it to you for a hot dog? You know, it's like, yes, that is a huge red flag.
Yeah.
You want people to respect you
completely
and treat you like, you know, if they want to buy your idea, they, you know.
Yeah. I think like it's so interesting the stuff that came out during the whole strike.
Yeah.
And the way people were treating writers.
Yeah.
But it just makes me wonder, like, I mean, so money's the only thing you gain from this? Like treating them like absolute rubbish?
Yeah. The strike was wild.
Mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah. Did you guys strike here at all? Like,
no, not really.
Well, I guess that doesn't make any sense, right? Because
it affects us so much, though.
Right. Well, I feel like, I mean, all of the strikes, probably the SAG strike, so you guys, what are your unions here? They're different, right? Or do you have unions?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Gosh, the way it's just gone out of my head, but we do have them.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but it's just so crazy. I think during the strike, it made us all realize we always saw like the States as being like the big dog.
Sure.
But when the strike happened, we're like, oh, we're striking then. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I feel like, you know, obviously since COVID, since the strike, it's been pretty much dead. It feels, you know, so much less is being made, which maybe is, you know, the overcorrection of too much stuff being made.
Correct.
But I hope it comes back to some kind of happy medium, because I just feel like we're getting to a point where there's nothing new, and if it is, it's all the same people that have been making, you know, stuff forever. There's like less opportunity for new, fresh ideas and new things.
And it kind of kills me a little bit when I see like, we were making this film from 20 years ago. I'm like,
no one wants another.
No.
I'm not gonna name
I got
blank. Yeah. Every other Deadline article that I see, like, you know, is like new or IP just being redone.
Yeah.
Which, don't remember the last time that was done. Wait. Apparently Twisters is good.
Okay.
Haven't seen it yet.
Can't
speak on it, but apparently it's good.
Okay, good.
I think Green Flags is just like when you're on set and it's a new collaboration, it's a new friendship, and it's just, even when things are difficult, you can communicate in a way that is like, we're gonna do this, you know. Also, I really love when people can take suggestions and use them with their own vision. You know, like, that's one of my favorite things. If I can give someone an idea and then they can be like, that's dope, let me just like integrate it with what I was already thinking of, that's cool. You know? Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think also just like meeting creatives that you respect and love, like yourself, like it was like, oh, nice, okay, great, you know? I think for me, and the conversation I've had quite a lot recently with other creatives, is that elitism has never felt so high in the industry.
Sure.
The cost of living in London is insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
I mean, LA, yeah.
Yeah. Like
the world's just is so expensive right now.
So
it's
expensive.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like transport even, you know? I mean, obviously, like, you know, you saw a picture of my matcha, but it's like, I need to live a little, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know? But I think it's like, you want to create this amazing thing. You know how hard and like laborious it is to write a script.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to pick up other jobs to like pay your rent and stuff like that. And it's insane.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can be the thing that like really slows you down compared to people who don't have to you know, do the extra jobs and stuff. And I think not only do you have that setback, but then the industry within itself can also feel like it's just punching you down.
Sure.
So I think that's one of the things where I can feel a bit jaded sometimes.
No, 100%.
I'm like, I'm trying my best.
Oh, dude, I mean, like, I've been acting since I was 13 years old, and it's really hard, the industry is so hard, and you get beat up so much, and I find myself having to, not be jaded 100%. I went through a huge period in my early 20s where I was just so jaded, and I feel like I went in rooms and people can tell, and it's like, but how do you get out of that? And I feel like the biggest thing for me was finding, I always knew I wanted to direct, but finally doing it in my early 20s and optioning my first script in my early 20s, it made me feel maybe more in control, but also I think I had put so much of my energy into, I'm an actor. Like, that's what I do. Like, that's my one thing. And I think finally doing all of these other things that make me feel so fulfilled, like, changed my life and had, in such a beautiful way. And now I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Now I don't have a mental breakdown when I don't get a role. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I have other things. I'm good at these other things. And I also, in terms of, like making money and, whatever, it's like as a multi-hyphenate, there's so many different outlets to make money as well. If I'm not working on a TV show, like, oh, I'm writing a script that I can go, pitch and sell. And it's like, there's so many opportunities when you have different avenues.
Completely. Yeah.
I think people that I never thought about, I think early on when I started making stuff, I was like, I gotta meet DPs, like, I gotta meet, like production designers, which are all true. And yes, and it's been amazing. But I'm learning, like, you also need to meet producers. Like, you need to meet the people that bring you opportunities and connect you to, people that can give you these greater opportunities. And again, going back to being genuine, it's like, do it in a genuine way. Find find producers that you align with, that make sense and are proud of your work and don't want to rewrite your whole script, you know? But I think early on, I never thought, like, someone asked me in a general, they're like, what's your dream producer to work with? And I was like, I've never thought of that. Like, and I don't know why, maybe, but it's like, I never thought, wow, let me like deep dive into IMDb Pro, see the movies that I love and like that inspired me, and, see what kind of producers were working on these projects. Instead of complaining about gatekeeping, I started a social impact organization in LA, which I want you to come to when you come through, but it's called Not Your Daddy's Films.
Yes.
And it's for women and non-binary artists. I started it with 4 other women. I didn't start it myself. But
did you have the event the other
we had
in
an
London?
Event here, and it was amazing. There was like 100 plus people, and but it shows that gatekeeping is real. And women and non-binary artists, they need a place to go to like meet each other and have mentorship and have just a place to go where they feel safe. And that's been one of again, something really fulfilling in my life the last couple of years. But gatekeeping is real, and if we all just share information, and it's tough. But
I completely echo that. And I just can't wait for people to just be more open, you know, and to make it seem like less of a mystery. I think sometimes you like crack through like a level, because I feel like there's like different levels that we have to like, I don't know, find the key for, and you get to that level and you're like, oh, that's it? Yeah. Like, why do they make it out to be some sort of weird, crazy thing?
And I think too, again, I think because there's so few seats for women at the table still, women unfortunately sometimes get to that seat and then they're like, I got here, like,
they lock the door.
Yeah, and it's like, that's, it's not their fault. It's like, it's the way it's just built right now. Right. So I think if we just add more seats to the table, we'll be fine. But,
We'll get there. Was that positive enough for you?
We'll get there. Twitches.
I think at the moment for me is, I'm not sure if you remember, like when I last saw you, I was so low. Because it was last year I'd received more rejections than I've ever received in my whole life.
That's always right before it happens.
Oh, and they always say that, like, just keep going, like, you don't know. I was so low. Yeah. And it feels like this industry can be so unforgiving and, like, not fair and you know, just everything. And I got so bitter and I was so upset and I was so sad. Because I think it's the same for you, where like, I've known what I want to do for my whole life. It's not a case of where I've thought, oh, maybe it's like, no, I've always wanted to be a creative, you know? It's so, in such a cheesy way, it's like, it feels like that's the reason why I'm here. Yeah. So when I don't get to do that, I feel so hopeless. Yeah. And
that's such a universal feeling, I think, with creatives, which like is not to say like not devaluing how you feel, but just to be like, there's solace in knowing that everyone is feeling or has felt that way. Right. And it means you're doing the right thing, you know? Art is painful.
It's so painful. Yeah. So I remember when I booked this, the theatre job, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I gave up 6 months ago, then I would have never known that this would have, you know, come by. And there's this picture, which is so gorgeous. It's of these, this man kind of like, he's underground and he's like knocking underground because he's trying to reach the water. Yeah. And there's like a thin little brick and it's just one more layer that he needs to go until he reaches the water. And he gives up and he turns away. No. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Right? Yeah. And I always think about that picture in regards to this industry. Yeah. But sometimes it can be so tough. But I think if I could, so it's a long way of basically saying that if this is something that you truly, truly want to do, you just, and you just have to keep going. Yeah. And just make sure you have the support network of people that like keep pushing you on. Yeah. But then also have those moments where you do like bitch about the industry because it is shit and we can, you know. Tough. But someone that can be like, you got this.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
Yeah, I think in terms of whenever I'm having a hard time, or if I have a writer's block, or I don't, you know, I screen test and I don't get the role, I'll get sad, and then I think I'll be like, how would 14-year-old me feel about where I'm at in my life right now? And then immediately you're like, wait, like at 14 I just started, I had all these dreams and I've done all these amazing things. You know, I get to work in London for the summer, I get to, you know, I have so many stories that little me would be like, wait, what? And like that makes me so happy. And then in terms of just like for a young creative, when not that, you know, I'm still learning so much as well, but when young girls come to me at Not Your Daddy's events, I just always say, like, I sold clothes for 4 months, and I was like, that's going to be my fund for my first short film. It was like peak COVID, you know, when no one wanted to spend any money because it was terrifying, and I was like, I'm going to sell clothes. I think I made like $1,500, and I spent it on my first short film. Amazing. And like that was worth it. Like I always feel like, you know, if there's a way you can figure out a grant and then get favors from everyone else, like just make the first thing. Like you just have to do it. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Because if I didn't do it and I had been scared or whatever, like I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And you just have to, you just have to do it. You know? You just gotta,
Yeah. And also there was another thing, because I'm not sure about you, but over the past few years, I was getting to a point where I was starting to beat myself up about the mistakes I've made along the way. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, if you're not making the mistakes, you're not moving forward.
You're not learning. Oh my God. I think about, like, the early stuff that I wrote, and I'm just like, what the you know, like, it's embarrassing, but it's like, that's how you get better.
That's how you get better.
That's how you get better. You know? I will also say, like, some of the projects I've done as an actor that I'm not super proud of, they're very few. I keep bringing it up, but there's very few, but, like, I learned on some of those projects the ways to be a better director, like ways to tell a better story, you know, how not to treat actors, you know, like just things from that has actually been weirdly helpful as well, you know.
Yeah.